Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and we have a great day today because it's not every day we get a Nanmu model, so anytime I have a Nanmu figure to review, I am over the moon excited because Nanmu is quite possibly my favorite company of all time at this point, and they always produce the best models out there. Especially if you're a fan of Jurassic products, then you're definitely going to love Nanmu. And as you can see, we have another incredibly unique and beautiful model here to take a look at, as we have a Deceased Parasaurolophus. These are named Nutcracker Soldier, and definitely looks really cool. The images that we've seen of it so far have me beyond hyped for it, and you can see as far as the box art, again, we have that really cool, very artsy black and white appearance to the box up here on the top. Again, Nutcracker Soldier. Same deal pretty much for the underside as far as like a Nanmu logo, and then Nanmu logo again over there and over here. And then if we turn it around, you've basically got, again, some more information here on the back. So let's pop this open and check this out. So here is our Deceased Parasaurolophus, and man, that is awesome. That is definitely, like, when I say it far exceeds my expectations, whoa, does this ever do just that. Nanmu really did a great job on this one. I think the sculpt overall perfectly replicates what you would like to see on a Parasaurolophus from, you know, a Jurassic Park or Lost World Jurassic Park style Parasaurolophus. They did a great job in the color scheme as well, and the gore is absolutely disgusting in the best possible way. Definitely a huge fan of what I'm seeing here on this Parasaurolophus, so let's go ahead and jump straight to a closer look at it right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of the Parasaurolophus, you can see the skin texture looks really nicely done. They have some beautiful coloration here on the face of the Parasaurolophus, as well as a dark wash that really highlights the detail quite nicely. You can see that we have a nice brownish tone up here around the eye, transitions to a yellow there for the lower jaw, and you of course have the really nice browns up here on the crest of the Parasaurolophus. You can even see a really subtle kind of light striping running along the crest. And what I like about the crest as well is there also kind of seems to be kind of like a light khaki, potentially like a dry brushing or a wash up there. It's a little hard to tell exactly how it was applied, but definitely looks really nice and adds a nice element of realism to the figure. You can see more striping as you lead out toward the beak, and you can also see that the nostrils are highlighted nicely with a darker tone of color, and they also sport a gloss coat, which is really cool to see. And as you lead down into the beak, you can see the beak itself actually turns into pretty much like a black or a very dark brown. So we have even more color variation to the Parasaurolophus. And then as you lead back into the face, you can again see the gory area here that has been partially eaten. And you can kind of see the teeth sticking through the side of the mouth. So this thing has been eaten so much so that you can now see like the inside of the jaw and everything. So awesome, yet so disturbingly cool. And you can actually see the teeth themselves are painted, and you can see so much color variation and just incredibly realistic paintwork, as well as a beautiful gloss coat added to the areas of the dinosaur that are ripped open. Nanmu really went above and beyond to give you an incredibly realistic corpse of a dinosaur. You can also see the ear is sculpted out back here, also painted with a darker tone of color, again highlighting it nicely. And then as you start to lead down the course of the neck of the Parasaurolophus, you can see a lot of really nice kind of skin wrinkles, skin creases. There's like a nice brown that runs along the back, but there's also kind of like a red that's been sort of dry brushed over it to just add a little extra color variation, which is really nice. Again, really subtle color on the Parasaurolophus. You can see that the yellow continues to run down into the throat, but we also have kind of like an off-white or a light yellow stripe that runs down along the side of the Parasaurolophus as well, and you can see kind of like some speckling here and there. All pretty much the type of colors that you would expect to see on this dinosaur. And then as you lead down a little bit further, you can see the throat is completely torn apart. And again, we have some of the most impressive gore that I have ever seen. And again, that gloss coat as well just adds another level of realism to that area. You can even see kind of like areas where there's like tooth marks, like rips and stuff through the flesh of the Parasaurolophus. Oh, I cannot even get over how awesome this is. As you continue to move down, again, you can see more of those speckles. You can see more of that yellow coloration there that's transitioning nicely to that kind of white for the underside of the Parasaurolophus. And then leading back up here, you can see some beautiful variations of browns, quite a few different variations, almost even like yellowish areas here in certain spots. But you can also see some light hints of green, so they've done a good job of adding in a lot of color variation, giving it an incredibly realistic and lifelike appearance on top of the gory areas. I'm speaking of just the skin texture and everything of the dinosaur. You can also see that we have some more darker variations of brown here that kind of follow along that stripe. They've as well been nicely dry brushed over with what appears to be a black coloration. You see more of that reddish dry brushing as well as more of that kind of dark blackish coloration there, that dry brushing over the top of the stripe there. Again, the color that they have there is a nice brown, but there's a black that's kind of lightly dry brushed over, which highlights that detail nicely. You can see a few more chomps have been taken out of the spine of the Parasaurolophus, and also again are painted very nicely, sculpted out beautifully. And then we come back here a little bit further, and you can actually start to see the spinal column appear here on the top of the dinosaur, as well as again just a plethora of gore and color variation in there. You can see like purplish tones, reddish tones, even like variation of brown and everything in there. They just applied so much color to make it look so disgustingly realistic. And again, it is so cool to see it, ripped apart like this, perfectly recreating that deceased Parasaurolophus. And then as you move down here into the stomach region, you can see the rib cage. The ribs are all very nicely sculpted out. And again, you can see all sorts of this dinosaur that have been massacred and kind of pulled out of the body, as well as another injury right here up a little bit further from the ribcage area. It looks so insanely realistic. Like, if I were to stumble upon this outside and nobody had told me that they placed this model there, I would 100% think that somehow a mini Parasaurolophus had been killed and, half eaten here on my property. It is that realistic and lifelike. As you move down here into the arm, you can again see more of that speckling. You can also see that the arm has been completely severed, and you have some of the bone kind of sticking out right there, as well as again some more beautiful gore applied to that area. And you can also see that the skin texture down here in the stomach region looks really nice. You have a beautiful kind of a whitish tone for the underside. Lots of skin creases and stuff right here in the chest region. As you move back up here, again, you can see the hip bone, sort of. You can start to see it take shape right here before it completely disappears because the dinosaur has been torn to shreds yet again back here. And you can see this injury runs all through the thigh, all the way up over the top of the dinosaur into the spinal area. And you can see again some of the bones sticking out here. And I love how perfect this gloss coat looks that they've applied to this model. Like, every area that has been torn to shreds on this is so perfect looking when it comes to the glossy, kind of bloody look that you would expect to see on it. Nanmu totally knocked this one out of the park. You could start to see those beautiful stripes running along the back of the leg. Again, exactly the type of coloration you would like to see on a Lost World Jurassic Park Parasaurolophus. And you can also see more color variation as we have browns and greens and everything throughout. Very, very subtle changes in the coloration. You can even see some more greens back here as it transitions to that white. There are, again, some pretty nice vibrant greens right there. As you move down, you can see the kneecap, the calf muscle as well, but the calf has been torn open. Just another area, actually in two different spots, but another area that this dinosaur has been feasted upon, or at least briefly anyway. And then as we move down into the foot, you can see the foot looks great, kind of like some scoots running down the toes, nicely painted nails. The nails even have some color variation to them as they have like a black and a brown added in there. Beautiful looking paintwork on top of the incredible sculpt. And you can also take note to the fact that the leg on the opposing side is severed. You can see there from the inside that that is completely removed from the body there. And we've got, again, loads of gore. As we lead up here into the tail of the Parasaurolophus, again, more fantastic paintwork as you just have a plethora of really subtle changes in the coloration of the Parasaurolophus as we follow along with that stripe. But you can also see, again, more of the spinal column here running along the back of the tail as we lead down here. Just gore galore all over this. You can actually, again, see like the chunks that have been bitten out of the Parasaurolophus, which I love. Sometimes you see this type of thing, but they just kind of have like an open injury, whereas Nanmu has gone so far above and beyond to create like the actual bite and tear marks in the body of the dinosaur. And it just, again, adds so much realism to this. And not just like, say like Collect A, usually they'll have like one, maybe two areas of like the dinosaur ripped open, whereas Nanmu has so many different injuries where you can see, again, it's just been feasted upon all over the place. And even as you reach out here to the tip of the tail, you can see that even the tip of the tail has been torn off of this poor Parasaurolophus. And you can again see like some bite marks and stuff right there. on the tip of the tail. And then once we flip it around, this is of course the side that the dinosaur would be laying on when you have it displayed, but you can see that Nanmu does not hold back. Even on the side that wouldn't really be showing, they have given us a fantastic sculpt and a fantastic paint job. You can see the eye is just slightly open as the dinosaur is deceased. We saw that same thing over here as the eye is again just slightly open, but they've even gone ahead and painted the eye. Even with that really slight opening to the eye, they've gone ahead and painted that. And you can see how gorgeous the sculpt and paintwork looks here on this side as far as that head sculpt goes, leading down the neck. You can see a little bit of the area that we saw a lot of on the other side where it's kind of ripped open. That does extend over here onto this side of the neck, another bite mark right there. And as we move down, you can kind of almost see like some muscle definition in the neck, and then leading down into the arm. We do have the entire arm on this side. You can see the hand is kind of folded up into the body. The nails are painted very nicely. And we have some nice dry brushing over the arm as well. You can see more speckles and stuff, but they've really highlighted the skin detail there in the arm with a nice dry brushing. And then you can see as we move back here into the body, you really get a good idea of how nice the skin texture looks, because on the other side, most of the stomach was kind of torn out and ripped away, whereas this side you do see a lot more of the skin texture, and you can also see again how phenomenal it looks. You even can see kind of like some small osteoderms here and there, some creasing there right in front of the thigh, showing off the movement of the thigh, kind of the positioning of where it was laying. And again, you can also see the rib cage on this side, as well as some more gore, because that seems to be the primary area where this dinosaur is currently feeding on the Parasaurolophus, as this side is totally ripped open. Same deal for over here, just completely annihilated. And then as you move back here, you can again see how the leg is completely ripped off. No idea where that leg went, but it looks absolutely disgustingly awesome here. And you can again see up here more gore, kind of some more bones sticking out of the tail area of the Parasaurolophus. And you can also see again how erratic it is as far as the way that it's been just kind of torn away. Just incredibly realistic sculpt and paintwork. As you lead out the length of the tail, again, you can see that the tip of the tail has been torn off, but you have such smooth coloration as far as like the transitions and everything here. All of the paintwork is just fantastic on this. Even, excluding the injury areas, the torn apart areas, which are just phenomenal. Like the paintwork of the Parasaurolophus in general is super lifelike, super beautiful. So when I tell you this is an incredibly impressive model, that is definitely no lie. Easily one of the most impressive Nanmu models I think I've ever seen, and our introduction to deceased dinosaurs in the Nanmu line. And I'm really looking forward to more, potentially anyway, deceased dinosaurs in the future from Nanmu, because this thing is so good, it's pretty much a diorama dream come true. As far as a size goes on the Parasaurolophus, it's a little hard to get a good size because it's just laying so awkwardly. But for a length, I would say if we just kind of hold it above here, it's probably around 8¼ inches, or maybe like 20½, closing in on 21. I'd say actually probably about 21 centimeters. And then if we were to go from the back here to the tip of the tail, about 7½ inches, or around 19 centimeters. You're not really going to get much of a measurement anywhere else. So for a size comparison, there is the Nanmu female Tyrannosaurus Rex next to the corpse here of our Parasaurolophus. And I don't know if this is the best way to kind of display this with you guys. Maybe if I actually lean it up here against the back and then kind of put the Rex over here to the side. Even though it looks quite humorous now with the Parasaurolophus kind of laying on its face, I think maybe that might be a better way to kind of show you the size. But you can definitely see the Parasaurolophus has a pretty impressive size overall. And especially being a corpse, partially eaten, it would be a pretty big Parasaurolophus if it were still alive. And we will get to the living versions here on the channel very soon. But you can see again a rough idea here of the size of the Rex next to the Parasaurolophus. And then we have the bull Tyrannosaurus Rex from Nanmu here next to the Parasaurolophus, showing you again roughly what the size would be. This one would actually be a pretty fun comparison if you took the Rex and kind of put him over it like that. We probably have to get a better angle, but you can kind of recreate the scene from Jurassic Park 3 where the T-Rex is feeding on the corpse. Would definitely be another fun idea as far as dioramas go. Again, I'm really telling you guys, this is pretty much a diorama dream come true when it comes to this Parasaurolophus. But for another comparison, we have Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and this time Alan Grant next to our Parasaurolophus corpse again. hopefully giving you a rough idea of what the size here is. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and take the camera up here again to give you a shot from above to help give you a rough idea of the size, and you can see how they all kind of size up there diorama-wise with the Parasaurolophus. So this brand new Nanmu Nutcracker Soldier Parasaurolophus, the deceased version, is fantastic. Like, words do not do this thing justice, and I don't know that the review will truly do it justice. I think this might be one of those models where you really just need to buy one, get it in hand to really appreciate how incredible it is, because it really is mind-blowing. It's that good. The sculpt is fantastic. When it comes to replicating a Lost World Jurassic Park or even just a Jurassic Park style Parasaurolophus, it is perfect. It looks fantastic in every area, whether it's like skin wrinkles, the beautiful skin texture, like everything looks great, and the open wounds and everything are unbelievably highly detailed. They did not hold back when it comes to creating a very realistic corpse for a dinosaur, adding in so much gore, so much beautiful paintwork to really bring the gore to life. You've got the bones hanging out and everything. Like, it is just mind-blowing how good this is when it comes to the gory areas. One of my favorite areas, I think, as far as the gore, is the mouth area where the teeth are kind of sticking out. So awesome, but so gross. Again, like I said earlier, in the best possible way. The paintwork, again, like I was just stating, is so unbelievably realistic on the Parasaurolophus. When it comes to the paintwork of a Lost World Jurassic Park Parasaurolophus, they nailed it, whether it's the design, the tones of color used, and there's so much color variation to the dinosaur. Like, again, outside of the areas where it's been torn apart, like the actual skin of the Parasaurolophus has such a realistic and lifelike appearance. There's so many different tones of color added, really subtle color variations, smooth transitions between colors, and then you actually head into the open wounds of the dinosaur, and man, is that unreasonably realistic. They added in so many different tones of color, just making all of the wounds look as realistic as possible, and you have the fantastic gloss coat over top to really iron out the realism of this model. So if you are interested in picking this up, I will include a link in the description to where you can do that on Dan's Dinosaurs. So make sure you check that link, make sure you head on over to Dan's Dinosaurs, pick this up because you definitely will not regret it, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.